Hi everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell, and welcome to a new apartment video, and welcome to Moscow. Welcome to a really interesting video. Oh, I think it will be. Now, I'm actually here by a little bit of a busy road. We're gonna go and have a brief walk around, and then I'm gonna show you inside this apartment. This is the building that we wanna have a look around. It's actually a 14-story building. It was built in 1967, and the actual apartment is up on the 13th floor. So I'm pretty sure we're gonna have some nice views from up there. Now, the actual apartment itself is in a very nice district of Moscow called Ramenki. And this area right here, there's actually some other buildings that were built at the same time. There's a little park just across the way. Now, we are walking distance to Moscow State University. If you were to walk about 5 minutes straight ahead, you would get to the university grounds. And this apartment is in original condition. It's just been listed for sale, and it's very rare that you get a chance to buy something in this condition in pretty much the center of Moscow. Now, there is a little bit of commercial businesses nearby. This particular building doesn't have any shops or businesses in it itself. This is actually the entrance just up ahead. There is gated parking over here by the next building. If we spin around in the lower level of the next building, there is some online pickup points. There is a pharmacy. There is a cafe. The nearest supermarket is in the next building. I actually walked here from the metro. It was probably about 7 or 8 minutes walk from the metro. There's actually 2 stations, and we're pretty much in between both of them. This is where you actually enter the building. And one more look up. Very classic building. And the actual apartment itself, it's a single owner who is no longer with us. And the property is now listed for sale as is. So let's go in and check it out. Before I do go in the door, I just want to let you know a little bit. I'm actually an Australian who lives here in the Moscow region. I live in this southwest part of Moscow. I was able to take a train and then the metro here. The station is just up the end of the street, just ahead of me. And I make videos about everyday, typical things. And I really enjoy to do apartment tours. And we will have a special guest joining us towards the end of the video. If you are a long-time watcher, you'll probably know who it is. And this apartment is very interesting for the fact that it's a one-owner apartment. There has never been any renovating done. Everything is what you see and how it was built back in 1967. So it's really interesting for me to see it and to show it to you. What I will do at the end of the video, I'll go through the price of the apartment. It is listed for sale, and I will explain to you the basics of the apartment then. I haven't seen it properly myself. I just saw a couple of photographs last night, and I was told to come here today because this was the last chance to walk around it before it gets listed for sale, and people will come to want to look at this place. So I'm very grateful that I can do that for you on this video. Let's head on inside. Now, there is a keypad entry, so you'd either have a key fob or you can call the number for the floor. Now, it's really interesting that there is obviously levels of renovation that get done in these places over the years. So it does look like the lobby area here has been redone. Letterboxes And I'm going to say it over and over because people always ask, why do we get mail in Russia? Because most people do online shopping with delivery, or you pick up things from what's called pickup points. And the only thing that would be in your letterbox is your bills. So things like water, electricity, and gas. You would get the actual piece of paper put in your box right there. Check out the picture of MGU. Actually, this looks like the Minister of Internal Affairs. So one of the other 7 sisters, because that's old Arbat Street in the picture. Now also they've got a little bit of a mixture of the new central heating and the old central heating as you walk around. And there is actually a person here at the entrance. Hopefully this lady is okay with being on the camera very briefly. And this lady will be here during normal daylight hours and make sure everybody who's coming and going are coming to the right building. And we just need to go up in the elevator. You can actually see some of the old radiators on the wall right there, which is pretty neat to see. And then also all the information for the apartment. And if you need to know what to do and when to do it, let's head on upstairs. Coming out of the elevator here on the 13th floor. So if the elevator wasn't going to work, there is a door leading out to the staircase. I think this door would have been replaced at some stage because that's a brand new plastic door. And then coming around the corner. So this is really interesting where you see some of the original features. So there is a garbage chute, which is very normal in apartment buildings, no matter the age. You don't have to go downstairs to do a garbage. There is the fire services right here. And at some point, somebody would have installed these gates, which gives you a little bit more security. And there is even doorbells. If you want to ring the door, now you'd actually have the key fob to open it up and then head on inside. Someone's even put a nice lampshade right there. Let's head on inside and have a walk around. This will be very interesting because this apartment is untouched and in absolutely original condition. And there is a lot of interesting features. Now, depending on if you're from Russia or not, to actually see some of the things and maybe notice some of the things that are rather original. Now, the entranceway here, so there is a wardrobe. Now, what I will say is everything that's in this apartment is going to be part of the apartment. So there is a storage cupboard there for jackets. You can put some things like luggage up the top. And this is exactly how the person who is no longer living here left this apartment. One thing that I found very interesting is there is a phone right there on the table, and the actual phone is still working. I'm curious how many people have a phone and still use it. Have a look at this wood flooring. This is amazing. Now, there is some carpets here in the entranceway, kind of hiding it a little. So this is a 2-room apartment, and then there is the bathroom on the right, and then kitchen off in the distance. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna walk through here into the main living area. All the winter coats So of course, the fact that it's in original condition, there is lots of things that are left here and things that the last person who lived here, we're walking through a little bit of a time capsule at the same time, and it's actually a little bit tough to walk through and look at things that are old and what are new, and something as modern as a computer chair. And I'll get to the window in a minute and the view. This old cabinet right here. So this apartment has not seen any renovations, and this is in exactly the condition of how it was when it was built in 1967. And I would say, barring changing some light bulbs, that's pretty much all that's been done. These floors are amazing. If they could be saved, it would be another thing altogether. Have a look at the old suitcases on the floor. These are really a piece of history. Of course, central heating in the apartments was standard for a lot of years. You obviously need it in Russia. Now we're going to see the view out of this window, and we can actually see Mosfilm across the way there, and some of the more modern apartments and business buildings right here. But have a look how thick the walls are. So there's the outside brick skin, and then this internal wall as well. Now, if the cabinets weren't here, you would actually have a very nice big room. But this is really a little bit of history, lots of books, lots of certificates, of course, lots of papers. And it's really, I'm going to say for me, difficult to walk around because you can almost feel that the person didn't leave that long ago. Some of the briefcases the person had, their clothes. So definitely some of these cupboards are very savable, and I'm sure some people would love to have this, particularly that cupboard right there. That is stunning. You just need to give it a bit of a wipe over. Old TV cupboard. There is some old movie reels. Check those out. Now, I don't, of course, know a lot of the original Russian history. However, just seeing things in here, the big chest of drawers. There is photos of the original occupants of the place and some papers that were discovered. There's actually a lot of room if this wall was moved or not. The old Sony stereo right there. Lots of certificates. It's really interesting just to look at some of the things and when they're dated. And then have a look at this balcony view right here. And have a look. You can see Moscow city off in the distance. And have a look who is here. Irina is here. Now, she doesn't...
We can see later.
Yes, we will briefly talk a little bit later. But how amazing is this view? Some cupboards up there. Lots of paperwork and books. And we understand, or we think, the gentleman was involved in economics and was rather knowledgeable throughout his years. So I would imagine these buildings were built all at the same time. Actually, have a look down onto the grass right there, Irina, and have a look what you see in the middle of the park.
You like a star.
Yeah, somebody is sunbathing. And just this view is incredible. Now, if I step a few steps this way, you can see, correct, yes, this is Moscow State University, or MGU, right here. And we are not that far from Moscow and Moscow City. But we've been standing here for quite a while, staring out this window, and just how amazing it is. And this is all in original condition. I will show you the bathroom in a minute, and I think there was a little bit of work trying to be done with the wall. But this is just amazing. The one thing too is nothing will be built in front of you, behind you, on the side of you at all. So you've got uninterrupted views of the Moscow skyline. Let's continue on this walk around. Now, there's obviously a lot of possibilities with this apartment and what you can do or what you might not do. Now, of course, I think anyone that would walk in here would want to do a full renovation. TV right here. And rip out a lot of things. And so what I'll do, I'll come into the kitchen first and show you this kitchen. Now, this is absolutely original. There is nothing added. I think maybe the kettle and toaster and the TV, and that's about it. And there is gas in this building. There would have been gas installed. I wonder maybe at the time of the construction. I don't think it would have been added later. And there's a couple of really interesting things here. So this fridge is from ZIL, and they had a factory here in Moscow. They were producing quite a lot of things. It's now gone, that region, and it's now modern apartments. But the fridge, and on the fridge, there is a magnet here of the Costa Magica, which is a cruise ship. Now, I worked on the sister ships to that, the Carnival Magic. And just so interesting to see some of the things like postcards and photographs. The gentleman was very well traveled. There is another radiator right here. Look how thick the walls are. And then this is the view back, what we saw from the balcony. Now, we don't think he was a drinker, but perhaps he got a bottle or two when he came through duty free, or perhaps he was given some of the bottles. Now, this is exactly the condition that this apartment is for sale in. And this is one of the unique features of Soviet apartments, or apartments from the USSR times. So there wasn't obviously a window for the bathroom, so they had a glass window like this to let the light through from one side to the other. Then also this lowered ceiling in the corridor, so you could put things like sporting equipment there or luggage. And you will also notice that there is no light switches, and they've got this original pull cord light switches. You can even see the handprints and perhaps grease from the bathroom and from the kitchen. So I have put a few lights on. So the toilet, I think at some point has needed some repairs, but this is pretty similar to an apartment that I showed very recently where you actually have the separate toilet and bathroom, but this wall in between could be taken down, and then they've got the separate pull cords for each side of the bathroom. And then even the shelf up there as well. And then this absolutely original bathroom that nothing has been done. So there was probably a light put in at some point, and there was never lights in the actual ceiling, because you'd actually just have the window here that would let the light through, and that was how you'd get your light. There's the radiator is on, which means there is hot water in the apartment. At the moment where I live, we don't have hot water. Generally for about 10 days of the year, they switch off the water in the apartments for renovations. And I currently don't have hot water in my place, yet it's working in here. So what do you think? What would you do? What are the potentials for this place? It's just really so interesting to see things sitting here, things like jackets, clothes. And unfortunately, this is very much a way that apartments do get sold. This would have been perhaps handed down from the original owner to family members, and whatever they might have removed is not here. And whatever you actually see is what you're dealing with if you buy this place. And of course, people lived here for a lot of years. 1967, so we're looking at nearly 60 or so years of history in this place. And I wonder, for anybody that's from Russia, is this layout very common to you? You know, the way it's designed. And this middle door as well, which is quite nice. Don't have to go through the corridor to come in. So again, this is listed for sale, but you're getting everything you see. And this is, again, I'm going to say it one more time, it is very normal and very typical, even in modern apartments, that it's sold furnished. Now, not to this extent, but there is no requirement to remove everything before you leave. You sell it as is, where it is, and exactly how it looks. But some of these original features, and it would be a shame to tear this up to get back to the bare floor level. But these two rooms are very spacious. I mean, as a bedroom right here, and then with the balcony off to the side. Just even the width of the balcony, this is 3 times the size of my balcony. So what do you think, everybody? Let me know in the comments what you would do. So I'm joined here by Irina.
I'm here.
And of course, we saw you up on the balcony. And
with amazing view.
How was that view? Yeah.
Yes.
Now, of course, we've had a bit of a walk around, and we feel like we were walking in a bit of a time capsule. And we, of course, don't know the people or people who lived here or person. So it's very interesting.
Interesting.
A little bit strange.
Not strange, just old.
Because you saw photographs, we saw some...
Yes, it's strange to feel, to be there.
Right, and almost...
And a little bit sad.
Right, yeah, it's because we don't know the circumstances.
Yes.
As a real estate agent, you've been given a set of keys, the apartment is for sale, and that's how it is, right? But this region where we are here...
Yes.
It's
Ramenki region.
Ramenki region.
It's the best region on the...
You say that about every...
East to west, not every...
every place we go to. You really are a real estate agent. And...
East, west, yes?
Right, in the west of Moscow,
in
right?
the west of Moscow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now-
And the greenest.
You said that about the last couple of videos as well. But there is a lot of greenery around here. There's the Chinese park right next door.
Yes, and
Near
the Moscow State University Garden.
Walking distance from here.
Yes.
You could almost walk to Moscow if you wanted to. It's not that far.
Yes.
Now, of course, it's listed for sale,
Yes.
and perhaps somebody would be a little bit cautious about something like this property because of the amount of work to do to fix it, if you were to fix it. But of course, you can hand your keys to somebody, a developer or a builder.
Yes.
Now, I have a set of IKEA tools. I don't think I could even start to do anything with this place. But what do you think? Of course, full renovation.
For renovation, of course.
And
We know chance to discuss it.
right.
Of course, it's the renovation. But it was never renovated before.
Since
Since 1967.
67.
It was built in 1967, and we know that this person have been living there
Since this building
all
was...
these years without renovation.
So imagine the view over the years as
Yes.
all of the buildings have come like mushrooms from the ground.
Maybe
That's
with a cup of coffee,
sitting on that.
sitting on the balcony
Yeah.
and watching how the Moscow city center was
There would have been nothing there. I mean, 20 years ago, nothing there, let alone now. So if people want to get hold of you or want to talk to you about this kind of a place, how can they do that?
by WhatsApp,
What's up?
Instagram,
Yes.
and maybe
your
my website.
Website, right.
Website, yes.
And
And I will tell you.
about so all the documents, of course,
Correct.
you have everything on hand.
Yes.
And everything is ready to go. And I think that's standard with all the places that you're selling. You're checking, double checking,
Of course, it's first.
triple checking because it's
Because in Russia, the documents is the half price of apartment.
right. Yeah. So thank you, Irina, for
Thank you, Russell.
and then actually showing me something that's completely original.
Yes, it's
And-
something original for me too.
Right. I mean, I know you've seen a lot of apartments in
Yes.
Russia in different conditions,
Yes.
and this is just how it happens. You
It's
know.
rarely this kind of apartment. Very rarely.
Right, where they're completely untouched.
Yeah.
I mean, there is no changes even to the electrics, those pull cord
Yes.
lights as well, which is...
Like from ancient time.
You're not that old. I don't know how old you're thinking. So thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
And anybody who wants to get hold of you,
I get a big pleasure to contact with you.
thank you so much, Irina.
Thank you. Bye.
I'm back home now and I'll go through all the information about the apartment. So firstly, the information about the apartment will be right here first, and then I'll put the price for you. And very interesting apartment and a very interesting walk around to see a original condition apartment from 1967. Now, the apartment itself was a 2-room apartment, and the way they describe it in Russia is they count the number of rooms, not necessarily the number of bedrooms. So for me, if it was in Australia, that would be a 1-bedroom apartment. But in Russia, they call it a 2-room apartment because you've got a main living room and then the bedroom and then the kitchen, bathroom, corridor. 56 square meters was the total size of the apartment. And that doesn't include the size of the balcony. And the balcony was actually really wide. It was quite spacious and those big windows as well. It definitely felt bigger than it actually was. Now, generally the furniture that are in older apartments make it feel smaller. So if you take out some of the cabinets and some of the wardrobes in there, you would definitely create a more spacious place. It was in the Ramenki region of Moscow. It's just a little bit to the southwest of the center of Moscow, if you don't know where that is particularly. Very close to Moscow State University. and the actual Chinese embassy, and there is a Chinese park very close by as well. There's quite a lot of embassies in that area. Also, Mosfilm was across the road. So if you know those different landmarks, you'll know where I was. You could, of course, see Moscow city from the window there, and then you could just see the Moscow State University building on an angle, or from the other window anyway. The nearest metro stations were Minskaya metro station or Lomonovsky Prospect station. I always get that word a little bit mispronounced, so I'm sorry. That was actually the station that I arrived to, and I just walked there, I think around about 5 or 8 minutes walk. I never put the stopwatch on to check how physically close it was. Of course, there was plenty of little shops nearby. I didn't point out that there was a supermarket in the next building, but you don't need to go very far to do shopping or any kind of services and things like that. It was 14 kilometers from Red Square. And again, I've explained about this before in other videos. It's not necessarily a good way to measure the distance from somewhere in Moscow. Most people judge it by the main roads. So things like the Makad, or the different main roads that lead in and out of Moscow, or wherever the nearest metro station is, because if you don't have a car, you can easily walk to public transport. There was also plenty of buses passing by as well that you could catch to nearby areas. Just a very interesting apartment. Now, for the person who would buy that apartment, it's exactly what you see. You would literally just get given the set of keys, and everything in the apartment is how it is. So it would also be your responsibility to get rid of things or remove things or whatever you would plan to do. Now, ultimately, I would say that apartment will end up with a full renovation, particularly the bathroom and kitchen. That would be the first thing that would get sorted out. The other rooms, there's probably no need to remove any major walls or structures. Definitely for the toilet and bathroom to combine it into one space. Also to remove that lower ceiling would definitely make it feel more spacious as well. The price. It is currently listed for sale for 19.6 million rubles. Now, depending on how you justify the price, now the region where it is definitely a very well-known older district of Moscow, and that's the only apartment in that block for sale. It would be very rare that there'd be apartments in that building that would end up getting resold. Most of the time what would happen is it would get handed down to the family or to the children or grandchildren, and it would stay in the family, and then different people would live in it at different points. But the family of the previous owner have decided to put it up for sale. They have taken away some of their possessions, particularly some of the personal belongings, but there was a lot of stuff left behind there, a lot of books, a lot of papers, a lot of documents. And Irina and I were really quite surprised by quite a lot of things that we found in the apartment. And actually for me, seeing that fridge magnet of the cruise ship, which makes me believe the gentleman was very well traveled and did a lot of trips overseas. You could even see from the suitcases in the apartment as well. So again, the prices or the exchange rates are right here. 239,000 US dollars, 206,000 euros, 178,000 British pounds, Canadian currency 329,000, and 367,000 Australian dollars. Now they're the prices as of today, around about 5 minutes ago. So depending on when you're watching this video, of course, exchange rates go up and down and prices vary. Always the stock market and the exchange rates will differ. Now the important thing to remember is the condition of the apartment. That is absolutely original. So whether you keep things or change things, it's up to you. It would definitely be a lot of work to remove a lot of the belongings inside and what to do with them or where to put them. But that's part and parcel of buying older apartments in Russia. It would be very much the same if I was to buy a place in the next building from where I live or on the other side of Russia. People pretty much leave the places as is and walk away and sell them as is. The same with my apartment here. When we purchased it, it was already furnished. There was even things in the cupboards in the kitchen. So we ended up getting rid of quite a lot of things. There was very little things that we've kept here in this apartment now since we've done a little bit of changes. So I hope you found it interesting. Again, Irina's information will be in the description and the pinned comment on the video if you want to contact her about that apartment or anything else in Moscow. She's a very good friend, and I'm very fortunate to be able to see apartments that she's got listed for sale. Whether or not anybody contacts her, that's of course up to you. But she is a wealth of knowledge. She's been doing it in Moscow as a career for a long time, so there's nothing she doesn't know, particularly when it comes down to documents and making sure everything is official. Like she said, that's the first thing they do. They go through all the documents, make sure there is no money owing, make sure all of the payments for the services are up to date, and that's very important, especially in Russia, because a lot of things are physical paperwork related rather than things that are online. And that's just how it's always been here. So I hope you've enjoyed the video and you've enjoyed this walk around of a original Soviet USSR built apartment. And it's really just interesting to see the condition. Again, I'm in the wrong spot for the end of the video. I'm not doing very well. But for me, I mean, that view out the window and the location, how close it is to Moscow, that sells it for me. Of course, there's a fair bit of work to do, but with the help of a builder or a person that can do remodeling, it's not a problem. It's very easily fixed and solved and changeable. So thanks. Thumbs up if you like the video and post a comment. Could you live there? Is that somewhere that you would consider moving to? Based on the location, the apartment, you know, even the fact that it's a single building with not many residents. You know, you've only got a few apartments on each level. You know, everybody knows everybody. The lady down at the entranceway, she knows everybody who's coming and going. She was actually super nice as well. If you want to follow my Telegram, it's right here. If you want to follow what I'm doing every day of the week when I'm not out filming, like on a day like today. If you want to see an old video, click this link and you can keep traveling with Russell. Okay, everybody. I'm sorry about the long video. I'm off on another adventure. Bye.